Hello friends. If you were born on February 2nd, you're not just another Aquarius, you're part of a truly fascinating and rare cosmic combination. You're born on the second day of the second month, giving you a double influence of the number 2 in numerology, and that's just the beginning. You might often feel like you're here to connect the dots for others, to sense what's unspoken, and to stand at the intersection of intellect and intuition. In this comprehensive horoscope, we'll dive into the astrological, numerological, Druid, Vedic, flower, and stone influences shaping your personality. And because life is multidimensional, we'll also explore how you approach love, sex, friendship, marriage, business, and compatibility. Ready to discover who you really are? Astrological profile: Aquarius, born on February 2nd. Born under the innovative and electrifying rule of Uranus, individuals born on February 2nd carry a uniquely potent version of Aquarius energy. Uranus doesn't just govern change, it demands it. It awakens revolutions, births inventions, and shatters outdated norms. February 2nd Aquarians are often at the forefront of cultural, technological, or philosophical movements, even if quietly so. They don't just accept the future, they create it. This birthdate lies near the heart of Aquarius season, intensifying the core qualities of the sign: independence, originality, social consciousness, and intellectualism. But here's the twist: this particular date also whispers of duality, intuition, and inner sensitivity, thanks to the presence of the number 2, which softens and deepens the usually detached Aquarian archetype. Emotionally, these Aquarians operate differently than others born under the same sun sign. While typical Aquarians are known for being aloof or emotionally removed, February 2nd individuals feel deeply beneath the surface, though they rarely wear their hearts on their sleeves. They are logical, yes, but their logic is informed by a rich emotional awareness that helps them perceive motives, energy shifts, and subtle emotional cues that most others miss. This makes them uniquely qualified for roles that require both sharp analysis and emotional intelligence. Think psychologists, storytellers, or changemakers. Their thoughts run like algorithms, but their hearts beat with silent compassion. Creativity is another core asset for these Aquarians. They often feel like outsiders not because they don't want to belong, but because their minds are wired to see what's missing, what the world could be, not just what it is. They can brainstorm new systems, rewrite narratives, or invent solutions long before anyone else sees the problem. This makes them innovators across any field they choose. Whether it's tech, art, science, or social justice, they bring a signature originality that can't be replicated. Many feel out of step with their peers early in life, only to be celebrated later for their forward-thinking genius. Finally, there's a quiet resilience to February 2nd Aquarians that few notice until life tests them. Their ability to adapt, transform, and keep going, no matter how offbeat their path looks, is what sets them apart. They don't crave attention. They crave impact. They may look calm, composed, or even indifferent on the outside, but inside, a galaxy of emotion, thought, and willpower is spinning with purpose. If there's one phrase to sum them up, it's this: still waters run deep, and electric. Love and romance: mysterious, magnetic, and deeply selective. People born on February 2nd approach love like an unsolvable riddle, and that's exactly how they like it. For them, romantic connection must be mentally stimulating and spiritually aligned before it ever turns physical. They aren't interested in ordinary affection or textbook courtship. What excites them most is the idea of building a love that feels like a secret language, something only they and their partner can understand. Their affection might not always be overt, but it's deeply intentional. A partner who truly gets them will receive a version of love that is imaginative, loyal, and wildly unpredictable in the best way. Romantically, these Aquarians are incredibly discerning. They won't fall for someone just because of charm or beauty. They look for people who challenge their ideas, who dare to dream differently, and who have depth behind their words. If you can't match their intellectual energy, they'll likely pull away. Not because they're cruel, but because shallow love simply doesn't satisfy them. Their version of intimacy is built on philosophy, rebellion, and a shared mission. For this reason, they may be single longer than others, holding out for that rare connection that truly feels like home in the mind and heart. Once in love, they are devoted but unconventional. They're unlikely to cling or hover. In fact, they'll often encourage their partner to explore independence. They want relationships where both parties can grow, evolve, and retain their own sense of self. Their affection often shows up in quirky ways: surprise road trips, abstract art gifts, or building a bookshelf that spells out your name. Expect creativity, not clichés. And while they may not verbalize their love often, when they do, it's poetic and unforgettable. However, trust and emotional safety are huge. If betrayed or emotionally overwhelmed, they may retreat into their heads, analyzing every detail instead of expressing their feelings. They need someone who can be gentle with their heart, respect their mind, and keep the curiosity alive. Love, for them, is a playground of infinite exploration, and they're looking for someone who's ready to play without following any rules. Best romantic matches. Gemini. This connection is electric. Both signs thrive on mental stimulation, constant movement, and shared curiosity. With Gemini's quick wit and Aquarius visionary thinking, conversations are endless and exciting. They become intellectual co-conspirators, always dreaming up new adventures and inventions. It's a relationship where boredom simply doesn't exist. Libra. Diplomatic and idealistic, Libra brings grace to Aquarius' radical spirit. Together, they create a balanced dynamic of vision and harmony. Libra's charm helps soften Aquarius' detachment, while Aquarius keeps Libra from getting too stuck in indecision. Both value equality and justice, making them natural partners in both romance and life's larger missions. Sagittarius. This fire sign adds passion and boldness to Aquarius' ideas. Both are independent, freedom-loving, and future-focused. Their connection is based on exploration, of the world, of knowledge, and of each other. It's a high-energy, high-chemistry bond with minimal emotional drama and maximum mutual respect. Challenging matches. Taurus. Taurus is grounded, steady, and craves routine, which can feel suffocating to the airy, future-minded Aquarius. While Taurus seeks emotional security, Aquarius needs freedom and mental stimulation. Their communication styles can clash, and unless there's deep understanding, frustration builds quickly. Cancer. Emotional, nurturing, and intensely intuitive, Cancer wants to feel emotionally bonded at all times. Aquarius, while caring, often processes emotions intellectually and needs space. Cancer may view Aquarius as cold or distant, while Aquarius may feel overwhelmed by Cancer's emotional depth. It takes maturity and patience on both sides to bridge this gap. Scorpio. Both signs are complex and deep, but they approach life from very different angles. Scorpio is emotionally intense and craves deep vulnerability, while Aquarius prefers emotional control and distance. Power struggles and miscommunication can arise unless both are committed to evolving together and embracing their differences without judgment. Sexual energy, electric and unpredictable. When it comes to sexual expression, those born on February 2nd don't fit into anyone's expectations, or comfort zones. Your energy in bed is like your ruling planet Uranus, full of surprises, powerful shifts, and flashes of raw intensity. You don't operate from a place of routine attraction. For you, sexual desire is deeply psychological, almost alchemical. A single charged glance, a clever idea, or a well-placed challenge can ignite your interest faster than any cliché approach. It's not just about the act, it's about the connection, the vibe, the originality of the moment. You crave sexual chemistry that feels like a private universe, where your ideas, fantasies, and instincts are welcome without explanation. Your biggest erogenous zone. The brain. Intellect turns you on more than touch. Someone who can challenge your perspective, who brings wit, confidence, and unpredictability to the table, is immediately more attractive to you. Flirting with you is an art. Think layered conversations, inside jokes, daring questions, and even philosophical debates. You're drawn to people who aren't afraid to explore taboos, push boundaries, and break the mold of conventional sexuality. You find excitement in partners who can improvise, experiment, and surprise you, who see sex not as a checklist, but as a shared invention every time. You're also highly attuned to energy, which makes you both selective and intuitive. If the energy feels flat or forced, your interest vanishes. It doesn't matter how attractive someone is, if they bring predictable or transactional vibes to the experience, you'll feel more bored than aroused. But when someone brings presence, unpredictability, and intellectual heat, you awaken. You become a passionate, curious, and deeply generous lover, often thinking far outside the box to create moments that are memorable, poetic, or thrillingly bizarre in all the best ways. You enjoy surprising your partner just as much as being surprised, and you rarely do the same thing twice. However, emotional safety is essential. While you can detach from casual encounters if necessary, your best sexual self emerges when there's mutual trust, freedom, and a shared sense of creative mischief. You don't want to feel owned or expected, you want to feel seen and celebrated for your complexity. You need a partner who understands that sex, for you, is a playground of the mind and spirit, not just the body. When that balance is struck, you offer an unforgettable sexual connection that is passionate, unconventional, and always ahead of its time. Marriage and long-term bonds, freedom in unity. For someone born on February 2nd, the idea of marriage can be as intimidating as it is intriguing. You're not opposed to commitment, you just have a radically different definition of it. For you, marriage must be a partnership between two sovereign beings, each on their own evolving journey, who choose every day to grow together without shackling each other. Any relationship based on control, conformity, or static roles will suffocate you. You crave something alive, organic, and progressive, a relationship that allows both people to breathe, stretch, and surprise each other for a lifetime. You're most attracted to people who change with you, who are curious about the world and open to unconventional ideas. Your ideal partner isn't the one who settles in with a script, but the one who tears up the script and co-writes something brand new. You may be drawn to marriages that challenge norms, long-distance relationships, unconventional living arrangements, intercultural partnerships, or creative soul bonds that don't follow traditional timelines. These are not exceptions for you, they're the rule. You find beauty in love stories that don't fit a mold, because you yourself are someone who defies categorization. What you bring to a marriage is deeply valuable: intellectual partnership, emotional support, visionary thinking, and loyalty to a shared future. You may not be overtly romantic in the textbook sense, but you're deeply faithful to those you truly love. You show your commitment through actions, ideas, and the unwavering belief that your relationship is a team meant to change the world in some way. That said, you're rarely drawn to early marriage. You often wait until you've met someone who truly gets your layered personality, a partner who doesn't just accept your need for space and growth, but actively supports it. The key to a thriving marriage for you is to keep the structure loose and the spirit alive. Take time apart to evolve individually, maintain separate interests, and always return with something new to share. Routine is the death of your romantic energy, so innovation, travel, independent experiences, and creative spontaneity must be part of your relationship's DNA. You want to look at your partner after 20 years and still think, wow, I'm still learning who you are. That's the dream. And if you find that kind of love, you're one of the most steadfast, open-hearted, and visionary spouses the zodiac has to offer. Friendship, the chosen few. If you're born on February 2nd, friendship isn't about quantity, it's about energetic alignment and soul recognition. You're the kind of person who can walk into a room and make 20 acquaintances within an hour, but only a handful will ever get past your inner gate. Your social nature is paradoxical, you're approachable, charismatic, and easy to talk to, yet you're extremely selective when it comes to real intimacy. Your trust isn't easily given, not because you're cynical, but because you feel energy so acutely. You intuitively pick up on authenticity, and if someone doesn't match your internal frequency, no amount of small talk will bridge that gap. Your friendships are often built over time, years, even decades, with people who have proven themselves through consistency, emotional intelligence, and shared vision. These are the ones you open up to slowly but fully. Once someone earns your trust, you become incredibly loyal, deeply curious about their evolution, and surprisingly protective. You're not the friend who checks in every day, but you're the one who shows up when it matters, with insight, unconditional support, and the ability to remind people who they are at their core. You don't offer surface-level advice, you offer transformation. Your role in friendships is often that of the unofficial philosopher, counselor, or spiritual guide, even if you disguise it under humor or memes. You're the one friends turn to when they're going through a life crisis, or when they just need to hear the truth in a way that doesn't feel judgmental. But make no mistake, you need these friendships to nourish you just as much. They anchor you in a world where you often feel out of sync with the mainstream. Your closest friends are your sanctuary, people with whom you can drop the mask and reveal the layers of your mind and heart. That said, you also require a high level of freedom and solitude, which not every friend understands. You may go radio silent for days or weeks, not because you've lost interest, but because you're resetting, dreaming, processing. The people who stay in your life are those who don't take that personally. They know your silences are not rejection, they're part of your rhythm. In fact, the best friendships for you are ones built on mutual independence, honesty, and shared intellectual or spiritual curiosity. These bonds, once formed, tend to last a lifetime. Business and career, visionary with a side of rebel. In the world of work, you are a game changer in disguise. Born on February 2nd, you were never meant to climb someone else's ladder, you were meant to build your own blueprint entirely, and then offer others the tools to follow. Structure, repetition, and micromanagement bore you. Your mind is tuned into the future, into what could be rather than what has been. That makes you an exceptional asset in industries that thrive on innovation, disruption, and paradigm shifts. You don't just follow trends, you anticipate them, often before they're even recognized by the mainstream. You gravitate toward careers that allow for independent thought, big picture planning, and humanitarian impact. Whether you're leading a tech startup, developing groundbreaking research, launching an advocacy platform, or writing a book that challenges the status quo, you do it with one core drive: to make the world more intelligent, just, and evolved. You are not driven solely by money or prestige, you want your work to matter. And when it does, you pour your soul into it. When it doesn't, you disengage quickly and move on, sometimes abruptly, because your inner compass refuses to stay stuck in meaningless systems. Professionally, your mind is a brilliant mix of logic and intuition. You can analyze complex systems and intuit human needs simultaneously, a rare talent in the business world. This means you can spot what's broken and offer radical yet elegant solutions. You're also excellent at networking across silos, bringing together creatives, technologists, strategists, and activists to birth projects that no one saw coming. You have an uncanny ability to see the hidden potential in ideas, people, and industries, and this often places you ahead of your time. However, the challenge lies in follow-through. You get bored easily, and traditional structures don't excite you. You're more interested in launching something than maintaining it. For this reason, you thrive best when paired with a partner or team who complements your visionary nature with execution and detail. You also do best in careers where freedom, flexibility, and intellectual stimulation are baked into the work. Whether you're working solo or leading a movement, your goal remains the same: to leave the world more conscious, connected, and free than you found it. In the process, you often become a quiet revolutionary, never flashy, but impossible to ignore. Numerology of February 2nd, the power of twos. To be born on February 2nd is to be marked by the mystical resonance of the number 2, not just once, but twice, giving you a numerological signature rooted in harmony, intuition, and emotional depth. The number 2 in numerology is the peacekeeper, the empath, the intuitive diplomat who reads between the lines and feels the invisible threads of human connection. When it appears twice, as it does in your birth date, these traits are amplified significantly, gifting you with an extraordinary sensitivity to the emotional undercurrents of the world around you. You are here not to dominate, but to connect, mediate, and align, often in quiet, behind-the-scenes ways that make a massive impact without seeking the spotlight. This double 2 energy means your emotional intelligence operates on a different frequency. You don't just sense how others feel, you absorb it, decode it, and reflect it back with clarity. This makes you a natural empath, often the person others go to for advice, understanding, or simply a safe space to be seen. But this gift can come at a price. Because you're so attuned to the emotions of others, you may internalize their energy, sometimes mistaking it for your own. That's why learning boundaries, emotional, energetic, and even spiritual, is one of your soul's core tasks. You walk a tightrope between compassion and self-protection, and every time you find that balance, you come closer to fulfilling your true purpose. Another fascinating trait of this birth date is your ability to mediate between opposites, light and dark, logic and emotion, chaos and order. You're not a person of extremes, but of bridges. You can sit with paradox without needing to resolve it. In a world full of black and white thinkers, you're the rare soul who can hold space for complexity and nuance. This makes you an invaluable presence in relationships, communities, and even work environments, where your gentle but firm energy helps guide others toward consensus and healing. However, this role can also become a burden if you don't receive the same support in return. It's easy for you to give too much and forget to ask for what you need. Depending on your full birth date, your life path number could be a 2, 4, or 6, each reinforcing your natural inclination toward service, connection, and emotional maturity. Life Path 2 magnifies your intuitive and diplomatic gifts, Life Path 4 adds structure, discipline, and groundedness to your emotional world, Life Path 6 brings a strong sense of responsibility toward family, community, and love. All 3 carry the frequency of caregiving, wisdom, and quiet leadership. But across all paths, your biggest spiritual lesson is the same: trust your instincts. You were born with a finely tuned inner compass. When you second-guess yourself, you weaken your own magic. But when you act from your core knowing, things fall into place, beautifully, effortlessly, and often miraculously. Druid Horoscope, the Cypress Tree, January 25th to February 3rd. In the ancient Druidic Tree Zodiac, those born between January 25th and February 3rd fall under the domain of the cypress tree, a symbol of resilience, dignity, and enduring spirit. The cypress, often found standing tall in cemeteries or sacred groves, is a tree associated with both sorrow and sacredness, marking it as a powerful emblem of those who walk between worlds. And if you were born on February 2nd, this archetype fits you beautifully. You carry a quiet strength, a poetic soul, and a kind of eternal grace that can't be shaken by life's storms. You may look delicate or ethereal to others, but your roots run deep, and you're far stronger than you appear. Cypress individuals are dreamers with a backbone. You move through life with elegance and purpose, often choosing paths that are less traveled, not because you're trying to be different, but because you feel pulled by a deeper calling. You instinctively know that life isn't just about survival, it's about meaning, beauty, and the pursuit of something timeless. Even when you're dealing with everyday tasks, there's a part of you that's always tuned into something bigger, the spiritual, the cosmic, the unseen patterns that shape our world. This gives you an aura that others find calming, mysterious, and quietly magnetic. Your values are rooted in honesty, emotional clarity, and soul-deep connections. Surface-level interactions exhaust you, you're drawn to people who are real, vulnerable, and capable of evolving. As a cypress soul, you're not afraid of emotional depth, in fact, you crave it. You're the kind of person who listens more than you speak, who remembers the smallest details, and who often sees straight through the masks others wear. Loyalty is everything to you. Once someone has earned your trust, you're fiercely protective and endlessly supportive. But beware, your heart, while generous, does not forgive betrayal easily. When someone breaks that sacred bond, you may withdraw completely, and your silence can feel colder than any words could. Another gift of the Cypress archetype is your relationship with solitude. You don't fear being alone, in fact, you often need it to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with your inner world. You may go through long periods of introspection, especially after major life events, during which you rebuild your emotional landscape in silence. This makes you incredibly self-aware and spiritually evolved, but it can also isolate you if you're not careful. Remember that you don't have to carry everything alone. Even the strongest trees thrive in forests. In your essence, you are a cypress, elegant yet strong, rooted yet dreaming, private yet deeply connected to all that is sacred and eternal. You bring beauty and depth wherever you go, not in loud ways, but in the kind that lingers in the soul long after you've left the room. Flower horoscope, orchid. To be represented by the orchid in the floral zodiac is to embody a kind of beauty that can't be replicated or easily explained. Orchids are rare, intricate, and captivating, not in a flashy way, but in a way that draws people in without them realizing why. If you were born on February 2nd, this flower mirrors your essence, enigmatic, refined, and quietly powerful. There is a complexity to you that doesn't reveal itself all at once. People might first be struck by your unique style, your thoughtful nature, or your graceful presence, but that's just the surface. Like the orchid, your true brilliance lies in your layers, the parts that unfold slowly and only for those who are patient enough to see them. Orchid energy means that you are not someone who thrives in just any environment. You need intentional spaces, emotionally, spiritually, and socially, to grow. You can't bloom under pressure, in chaos, or around shallow energy. Your spirit requires care, quiet, and authenticity to truly flourish. In the wrong crowd, you may appear cold, distant, or aloof, but that's simply your way of protecting your deep sensitivity and finely tuned emotional radar. You know your worth, and you won't open up to just anyone. When people try to rush your process, they'll find themselves shut out. But when they earn your trust, they discover someone profoundly generous, wise, and emotionally radiant. There's a delicate strength to orchid people that often goes unnoticed. You may not be loud or confrontational, but you are unyieldingly self-aware and internally resilient. When life throws its weight at you, you don't break, you adapt, recenter, and re-emerge more refined than before. You may not always speak your feelings aloud, but you feel deeply, and you remember everything. You're the kind of person who can sit in silence with someone and still make them feel seen. In relationships, friendships, and creative endeavors, you offer a sense of elevated presence, one that turns ordinary moments into something almost sacred. Your challenge in life is often about finding where and with whom you belong. Because your energy is rare, not everyone will get you. Some may try to simplify you, box you in, or treat your sensitivity as weakness. Resist the urge to shrink yourself to fit their expectations. The right people will not only recognize your beauty, they'll protect it. In love, especially, you need a partner who understands that your heart opens like a bloom, slowly, intentionally, and with a fierce loyalty once it feels safe. When the right conditions are met, you don't just blossom, you transform the entire space around you. Like an orchid in full bloom, your presence becomes unforgettable. Stone horoscope, amethyst. As someone born under the influence of amethyst, you carry within you a current of deep spiritual awareness, psychic clarity, and protective energy. This powerful violet crystal has long been associated with the higher chakras, particularly the third eye and crown, linking you to realms of intuition, inspiration, and the unseen forces that guide your inner life. Amethyst isn't just a pretty gem, it's a stone of the seeker, and as someone born on February 2nd, that perfectly mirrors your path. You are someone who asks bigger questions, someone who is constantly reaching for truth beyond the surface, about people, about the world, about your own purpose. Wearing or carrying amethyst isn't just a metaphysical accessory for you, it's an energetic home base, a tool that helps you stay grounded in your spiritual self when the world gets noisy or emotionally overwhelming. Because you feel so much, often more than you show, amethyst acts as both a filter and a shield. It amplifies your intuition while protecting you from energy that isn't yours, making it especially valuable when you're navigating complex emotional or social environments. If you're ever feeling emotionally overloaded or mentally scattered, holding amethyst can help bring you back into alignment with your inner calm. The amethyst connection also deepens your affinity for solitude and spiritual exploration. You may find that you do your best thinking in quiet spaces, during meditation, journaling, stargazing, or even long walks alone. These are the moments when amethyst's frequency seems to resonate most strongly with your natural energy. It's in those moments that you can hear your own inner voice most clearly, detached from the noise of others' expectations. This stone reminds you that stillness isn't emptiness, it's a gateway to insight. It supports your mental clarity, enhances your creativity, and sharpens your ability to sense things beyond the obvious. Emotionally, amethyst helps you balance your dual nature, the logical, independent thinker and the quietly emotional dreamer. It keeps you from tipping into overthinking or emotional detachment by bringing your heart and mind into harmony. It's the perfect companion stone for someone who walks the line between visionary intellect and deep feeling. Keep amethyst near you when you're making decisions, having hard conversations, or simply trying to reconnect with yourself. It doesn't just soothe, it guides, protects, and elevates, just like you do for others, often without them even realizing it. Vedic astrology, Capricorn Sun, Aquarius Nakshatra most likely. In Vedic astrology, also known as Jyotish, your birthday of February 2nd most often places your Sun in Capricorn, using the sidereal zodiac system, which lags slightly behind Western astrology. This changes everything. While Western astrology calls you an Aquarius, in the Vedic tradition, you inherit the disciplined, grounded, and ambitious energy of Capricorn. But don't worry, your Aquarian qualities still shine through, just in a more nuanced way. Your moon sign, which rules the mind and emotions in Vedic astrology, is likely in the Dhanishta or Shatabhisha nakshatra, both of which sit in the sign of Aquarius and influence how you think, feel, and react. The result? A powerful blend of grounded ambition and cosmic curiosity. You're a builder of systems with a mind wired for galaxies. Capricorn in Vedic astrology is ruled by Saturn, the planet of structure, karma, and long-term vision. This makes you extremely responsible, mature beyond your years, and constantly focused on growth, not just for yourself, but for the collective. You don't chase frivolous success. You're in it for real impact, legacy-level accomplishments that change how people live or think. This grounded nature gives you a work ethic that is unmatched, but unlike a traditional Capricorn who can get stuck in rigid routines, your Aquarius-influenced moon adds flexibility, innovation, and a deeper concern for humanity. You want to build a better world, not just a better resume. If your moon falls in Dhanishta nakshatra, you are gifted with rhythm, timing, and a natural affinity for leadership and wealth. Dhanishta natives often excel in music, business, or strategy. They are connectors of people and resources. There's a brilliance in how you organize chaos, how you see timing not just as hours but as opportunity. This gives you an edge in fields where strategy, timing, and vision all intersect, like politics, innovation, or large-scale humanitarian work. Your charisma may be subtle, but when you speak, people listen. You carry a quiet magnetism that doesn't shout but commands attention through presence and insight. If your moon is in Shatabhisha nakshatra, your destiny is even more mystical. This nakshatra is ruled by Varuna, the god of cosmic law, and is deeply linked to healing, secrecy, and the unseen aspects of reality. People with strong Shatabhisha placements often become healers, mystics, therapists, researchers, or revolutionaries. They are drawn to what lies beneath the surface, hidden patterns, emotional truths, societal systems that need transformation. With this moon, your Aquarius qualities come through more strongly: intellectual independence, futuristic thinking, and a deep desire to fix what's broken on a systemic level. You may appear emotionally detached, but underneath, you are radically compassionate and driven by a desire to alleviate suffering, even if it's not always obvious. This unique combination of a Capricorn Sun and Aquarius Nakshatra Moon gives you a rare inner architecture, 1 part stone temple, 1 part satellite antenna. You're connected to both earth and sky. You're serious but imaginative, structured yet experimental. You take your time, build foundations, and then shock the world with ideas that seem light years ahead of everyone else. You don't just build for today, you build for the next century. And that makes you a deeply respected, if sometimes misunderstood, force in every room you enter. Your dark side, emotional detachment. Here's the paradox of your emotional life: while your empathy and perception run deep, you often struggle to stay emotionally present, especially when things start getting vulnerable. This isn't because you don't care, it's because you care too much. Your sensitivity is so finely tuned that when emotions run high, your own or someone else's, you may instinctively retreat into your head, where it's safer. Logic becomes your shield. Instead of processing what you feel, you analyze it, explain it, or file it away for later, but later rarely comes. As a result, others may see you as emotionally unavailable or hard to read, even though your inner world is anything but empty. This emotional detachment is not a flaw, it's a defense mechanism. Because you're so tuned into patterns and outcomes, you can sometimes see how emotional entanglements might slow you down or complicate things. So instead, you choose clarity over closeness, independence over intimacy. You disappear, physically, mentally, or energetically, just when things are getting real. It's not because you want to hurt anyone, it's because vulnerability, for you, feels like handing someone the controls to your most complex operating system. You fear losing autonomy, or worse, being misunderstood in your most unfiltered form. Your relationships can suffer if you don't become aware of this pattern. Friends and partners might feel like they're always standing outside a locked door, waiting for permission to really know you. They may sense that you're holding back, even in moments that call for raw honesty. And often, you are, because the truth is, you've learned to equate emotional exposure with loss of control. But life, love, and growth all require some level of surrender. Your greatest task isn't to eliminate your protective mechanisms, it's to decide when it's safe to lower them. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves access to your inner self, but someone does. And when you allow that person in, transformation happens on both sides. There's also a tendency within you to downplay your emotional needs, believing that strength means stoicism. But real strength lies in authenticity, in letting your feelings breathe rather than bottling them up. When you give yourself permission to feel, in all its messiness, you become even more powerful. Your insights sharpen. Your relationships deepen. And your soul, which is already so wise, becomes that much more free. It's not about fixing this dark side, it's about integrating it. Emotional detachment may be part of your wiring, but emotional honesty is your evolution. And once you unlock that, you become not just brilliant, but unshakably whole. Your superpower, seeing the future. If you were born on February 2nd, your most extraordinary gift is your uncanny ability to see what's coming before it arrives, not through fortune-telling, but through a kind of intuitive pattern recognition that borders on prophetic. You don't just notice trends, you feel them building before others are even aware a shift is taking place. While the world looks at what's happening now, you're already mentally standing in the next decade, scanning possibilities and forming visions. It's not guesswork. It's a gut-level sense of the inevitable, drawn from a complex blend of observation, instinct, and insight. You don't just anticipate change, you embody it. That's why people often come to you for advice or direction when they feel lost. You see the road before the map is drawn. This gift manifests in subtle but powerful ways. You might be the first among your peers to try out new technology, champion a social cause, or shift careers towards something most people haven't even heard of yet. You're drawn to ideas, platforms, and philosophies that are forward-thinking, inclusive, and slightly ahead of their time. You sense when old systems are crumbling, and you naturally begin crafting alternatives, whether you're aware of it or not. In this way, you're not just ahead of the curve, you are the curve. You don't adapt to the times eventually catch up to you. But this kind of futuristic insight doesn't come without its challenges. You might often feel misunderstood or out of place, especially in traditional settings. People may resist your ideas at first, only to circle back later and treat them like revelations. It takes a certain level of resilience to keep pushing forward when the world hasn't caught up to your vision yet. But here's the truth, you're not here to be comfortable. You're here to disrupt, reimagine, and rebuild. That means being patient with the process, trusting your instincts, and continuing to speak the truth, even when it echoes in empty rooms. Your superpower isn't just foresight, it's belief. You believe in better systems, better relationships, better futures, even when there's no proof yet. And that belief becomes contagious. You're the kind of person who can walk into a stagnant situation and suddenly everything starts moving again. You don't need magic. You are the momentum. People who truly know you sense that, and that's why you often find yourself leading movements without trying, inspiring change without demanding attention, and transforming lives simply by being who you are. That's the essence of your gift, quiet revolution. Lasting impact. A vision that outlives trends and becomes legacy. In summary, who are you really? You're a visionary with soul, logic, and layers. Being born on February 2nd means your existence straddles dimensions, emotional and intellectual, spiritual and strategic, innovative and grounded. You take the best of Aquarius, curiosity, originality, and big-picture thinking, and blend it with the number 2's sacred traits, empathy, emotional intelligence, and harmony. The result is a personality that's complex, compelling, and utterly irreplaceable. You are not one thing, you are a constellation of contradictions that somehow make perfect sense together. Your mind is always racing, through ideas, theories, solutions, what-ifs. But your heart is equally present, quietly absorbing the energies around you, discerning truths others overlook. You can hold a technical conversation in one breath and dive into metaphysics in the next. You're capable of leading revolutions or whispering the one sentence that changes someone's life. You are a rare combination of dreamer and realist, someone who can visualize a better future and then build the foundation to make it real. And yet, despite your gifts, you often walk through the world feeling like an enigma. You may feel unseen or overly simplified, as if the full weight of your soul doesn't translate easily to everyday interactions. That's because you're operating on deeper frequencies, navigating inner landscapes most people avoid. But those who truly take the time to know you discover someone endlessly fascinating, loyal beyond words, and full of surprising tenderness. You are, in every sense, a beautiful paradox, strong yet sensitive, distant yet deeply connected, skeptical yet full of wonder. So, the next time someone asks, what's it like being born on February 2nd? You can smile knowingly and say, it's like being the spark that lights the future, while quietly feeling every heartbeat in the room. You are not just your sun sign. You are not just your numbers, your planets, your flowers, or your stones. You are a symphony of cosmic truths, and you were born to leave the world changed. If this felt like it was written just for you, maybe it was. Drop your birthday in the comments, your story might be the next one we tell. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other deep dive horoscopes. And follow us on social media, links in the description for daily insight into the magic that makes you you.